Well, hello and welcome to Java with Jim. I'm Jim Reese, Director of Business Development at Offit Kurman, joined here today with my friend Margaret Wilson, founder and principal at Tandem Partners. Margaret, good to see you today.
Good to see you, Jim, and good to see you wearing that hat.
Oh yeah, the hat stays with me, but never leaves the house for obvious reasons.
Gotcha.
Um, so Margaret, tell us about Tandem Partners, what you do, and how you're different from other companies that are in your same vertical.
Gotcha. Well, I'll start by saying there are not a lot of companies that are in our same vertical, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. But I was thinking about this conversation coming up, and I realized, wow, Tandem Partners has been around now for more than 20 years. And time just flies, right? And I remember having a conversation with one of your partners at Offit Kurman before I started, and I was like, I don't really have any work product and I don't have any clients, but I have some great ideas. And Ted Offit said to me, sounds good. I think you'll be a great success. And 20 years later, we have been a success, and we've learned an awful lot, from our clients over the years. But at Tandem Partners, what we do is we partner with organizations that are in transition. And very often they are leaders and teams and organizations that are part of a family-owned company. That's kind of the heart of our business. That's where we got our start. And what makes us kind of different in our work with transition is that we're not an expert consultant where we're going to tell you how to organize the transaction or what you should be doing with your wealth. What we do is we actually work in the intersection between sort of three interlocking domains that you find in an organization like a family business, and that's family issues, owner issues, and business issues. And we are business people. We are coaches and consultants who have worked in business for our whole careers, but we are also people who have formal training and education in behavioral science and human dynamics. So we're kind of able to work in the intersections where a lot of the sticky issues are.
Yeah, and I would say that family issues, owner issues, and transition issues are certainly not mutually exclusive. And I think that's where you really bring your wealth of knowledge and your expertise to help these companies.
Yeah, and it's really tough for owners sometimes and any member in the family business system, because very often there are competing priorities. Like if we just look at something from a family perspective, we might take one approach. But if we look at it from an owner perspective and what kind of return we need or what is our exit strategy, it leads us in a different direction. And so often people get stuck because they don't know which way to move and they just get kind of paralyzed. And so sometimes the best advice that other professionals have, like your CPA and your attorney and your wealth advisor, all have fantastic advice to give you, but they don't always understand what is it that's going to help a person get unstuck and be able to get into action, to be able to take the advice that you've given them. So that's kind of where we come in.
Yeah, lots of dynamics.
Yes.
So 20 years for Tandem Partners. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Margaret, in those 20 years, what are you most proud of?
This probably is not a very flashy kind of accomplishment, but I would say what I'm most proud of on behalf of myself and my coaches is that we have a lot of repeat customers. And there's just a certain kind of thrill that I get. Like today, I got a call from a client that I haven't spoken to probably in several years. And she called me up and she has a new challenge and invited me back in to help her work through a particular challenge and around some people issues and shifting the culture of the organization. So to me, that's very gratifying because I'm all about relationships. I mean, I think relationships are really the currency that we have in business. And it's very gratifying to know that I had at least enough of an impact, or that Tandem Partners was easy enough to do business with, that you wanted to come back for a second swing. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
the repeat business, that's a wonderful testimonial.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of talk about the recession,
yeah.
inflation, cost of goods going up, gas is coming down a little bit. Maybe the
Mhm.
real estate market is bouncing back. Maybe the pendulum's moving back in a different direction. So considering all that's going on, what do the next 6 months look like for you and Tandem Partners?
Well, of course, I'm not an economic analyst. I try to pay attention to what's going on out there, but honestly, the experience that we're having at Tandem Partners is that things aren't slowing down. Um, I think a lot of closely held businesses didn't really get the memo yet about the economy being soft because things are still going well for many industries. And the next 6 months, I believe, are going to be a reflection of what we've been experiencing really since 2019 or 2020, which is, there are bigger shifts happening in the United States and really globally with aging population and aging businesses. So generationally, people who started businesses like after World War II, when we had this big economic boom, we're seeing second and third generation transitions of ownership, transitions of wealth. So we're getting a lot of calls around succession still. And some of that is people have figured out like, I don't really want to do this anymore. So the senior generation wants to kind of peel off. Or we're getting a lot of interest in working with us because the next generation they found wasn't quite ready. And, during the pandemic, it kind of revealed strengths and problems that organizations had and how resilient were they to kind of go through that time. Yeah, but there's a lot going on just around sort of the mega trend of aging and how that is affecting talent. Talent. We do a lot of work with nonprofits, see us as experts in succession as well because of our leadership expertise and transitional expertise. And so we're getting calls from big nonprofit organizations saying, help, we didn't build the capacity and we have, our fearless leader is needing to step down. What do we do now? So I don't see that slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, good point about the aging and the population demographics for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Margaret. So here's the fun question. What do most people watching this not know about Margaret Wilson?
Well, I think I'm kind of an open book, so people who know me probably know a lot about me, but let's see. What do people not know about me? Um, People might not know that I actually got my start when I moved to Maryland quite some years ago. I've lived all of my adult life in Maryland. I grew up in Michigan, but my very first job when I moved to Maryland was actually with a prominent family-owned company. And I was in my early 20s. I had no idea what was going on. But of course, many years later, I had gotten my master's in behavioral science from Hopkins, and I decided, hey, I'm going to combine this human stuff with this business stuff. And so it was kind of, it's full circle for me as far as where I started and kind of where we are now.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Even I didn't know that.
You didn't? Well, great. I'm glad I
Right.
surprised you.
So you sort of got you learned on the job education in your
I
20s.
did. I did. It was an incredible family, wonderful philanthropic family, and a lot of family members, like a lot of children, cousins. There were a lot of dynamics. And I knew even then, as a really young person, like, wow, this is really fascinating. Yeah, it
As
was a
someone who
laboratory.
as someone who came from a family business, what you just described, um, it sounds awful. Right? With the
Well, we
siblings
love
and the
it.
cousins and the uncles, does not sound like fun, but
We
uh,
live for it. We live to help families get what they want and help their businesses be successful.
yep, you sure do. Well, Margaret, it's been great to spend some time with you. It's been a while, so always great to get together with you. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your information about Tandem Partners with us.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jim.
All right, hope to see you soon.